Well, where the hell was that performance for the last 6 weeks? Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Let's Talk Liverpool. And I don't know, I felt like a little bit down on the podcast. The team have not been at the heights that we've seen them for the past couple of seasons, and everything for the past month or so has been a little bit doom and gloom around Liverpool. It's been a crisis analysis. What's going on? Klopp out. I saw someone out rubbish on Twitter. And, all this kind of analysis. And today, I felt like we put some of those kind of criticisms and some of those things that maybe we were concerned about, I wouldn't say to bed, but it at least, kind of brought our faith back to kind of go, look, this team is still capable of performances like this. This team is still capable of dispatching a very, very good Tottenham team away as well, not even at home. And... I think all round this is just positive in so many ways. Obviously, in terms of the result, we just needed 3 points. I don't even know when the last time we got 3 points was. I haven't even gone back and checked. But more importantly, I think, than the 3 points is just the confidence. Both from Klopp, you could see when the first goal went in. It was just more relief, I think. And then also as the second and third goals went on, you always knew, even across this entire run, when we got one or two goals, then some of that swagger would come back. Then we'd see some of the players taking some of those risks, making those passes, trying to take on those defenders like we were before. And it just goes to show that the team might be going through a bit of a dip, but all it takes is one performance to just remind you of how good they are. Now, I don't think for any, I'm not getting carried away and thinking we're completely out the mud here, and that we're just going to turn up against a very good West Ham team on the weekend and turn them over because of how we played today. But I think this was just kind of just what the doctor ordered. I think from a confidence perspective and from a results perspective. So before going into the game, we obviously had I'd say slightly concerning news with Fabinho not making the starting 11 due to a minor muscle injury. I think Klopp said before the game he will be out for a short period, but I don't trust Klopp when he says things like that. We've seen that very, very many times before where injuries have materialized into something longer. But with the Henderson situation, he was out for a week or so, and he was fortunately back in today and had an absolutely stonking game. But hopefully Fabinho isn't out too long, because Joel Matip went off at half-time. I would assume precautionary, because it didn't look in any agony during the first half. So hopefully that's just precautionary, and he will start against West Ham on the weekend. But that was kind of the big news. Thiago continuing in midfield. I'll talk a bit about a little later on about how the midfield was slightly different today. And Thiago and Wijnaldum had very different roles, and then the front three were just the front three. I think Klopp was always going to continue to play the front three and not chop and change them too much. One, because I think he always had faith that they could play their way out of their bad form, but also because the options we have on the bench just weren't going to threaten Tottenham in the way that was really going to break down Tottenham. But the game started, I guess, fairly well from our side. Sadio Mane had a fantastic chance, great little play between Firmino and Mane within, I think, the first couple of minutes, and he kind of skewed the ball. It kind of just was a finish of someone who just isn't really in the most confident form, you can tell. Kind of sliced off his left foot and went wide, but that was a huge chance. And I wouldn't lie to you. I thought when that happened, I thought, is this one of those games again? Is this another one of those games where we're going to make some chances, but things just aren't going to go our way? And I didn't really feel much better about 5 minutes later when Harry Kane does what Harry Kane's probably been doing all season this year, and just slipping a ball literally straight through the heart of our defence into Heung-min Son, and he was able to run through clear and finish past Alisson. And for it feels like for once, but I know VAR is kind of evens itself out over the course of a season. But fortunately for us, Son was very, very slightly offside. Fortunately for us, he was offside, and the goal didn't stand. I think that could have really hurt our confidence, particularly just after missing that chance with Sadio Mane. Conceding so soon after could have really damaged the players' confidence. So I think that was a very lucky break indeed. But after that, the first half became kind of, it felt like sparring. I don't think we were on top of Tottenham as much as we were in the game at Anfield back in December. But we had a lot more of the ball. Firmino was playing very, very well. Coming off the back three were kind of very static in where they were, and none of the back three were really coming short to mark Bobby Firmino. And then because we already had three midfielders as well, those two Tottenham defenders, as they were analysing during the game in commentary, just couldn't cope with the three midfielders and then Bobby Firmino coming short. We were just completely outnumbering them in that part of the field. I think the one thing that I did notice, which was, I guess, a small change to how we've lined up in the past couple of games, was the positions of Wijnaldum and Thiago. It was very much in the game today where Wijnaldum played the number 6 role, the kind of one right in front of the defenders, and Thiago was the one that played further upfield with James Milner. Now, you know, back when I watched Bayern Munich last seasons and the last couple of seasons, Thiago was playing that number 6 position, and I think possibly in the Bundesliga, where things are a little bit slower and less hectic than in the Premier League, I think that position probably suits him. But I think at Liverpool, just because of how much teams press the player in that position, I think he does. Well, he was getting caught, and I think that's not necessarily the best position for him. And so I was glad to see him further up the pitch. I don't think he necessarily over the course of the game had the impact that either Klopp or himself would have wanted. But I do think that's a better position for him. I want to see him playing further up the field. I think we need that creativity further up the field, because we've got people like Henderson, Fabinho, when he plays in that number 6 position, who can spray the ball from there. We actually need that creativity. We need his creativity further up the field, getting the ball into Mane and Salah and Firmino as well. So that was a slight change, which I think worked really well. But as I said, particularly in the first half, just that kind of outnumbering in the midfield was the reason why we kept the ball. But they were playing. I wouldn't say they weren't playing deep, Tottenham. They were playing just with people kind of everyone in behind. And we were fortunate enough. Maybe they switched off a little bit towards the end of half time. Henderson clipped the ball forward. Nice little advancement out of defence. That's what we love to see. We don't necessarily get so much with Fabinho. But that was a great ball from Henderson. Mane making the run in behind and just squaring the ball very nicely for Bobby Firmino. And it was, yeah, as I said before, you could just tell it was relief from Jurgen Klopp, and you could tell from the players as well. And going in at half-time as well, just before half-time, 1-0 up, was absolutely fantastic result. And I was very, very happy going into half-time. Coming out into the second half, and honestly, I was expecting Tottenham to come out a bit more. They obviously made a couple of changes. Mourinho wasn't too happy with what he'd seen and how Tottenham had kind of been dominated against a Liverpool team that was very vulnerable coming into this game. But it was Trent Alexander-Arnold who was able to get the second goal for us. I'm sure that will do him great confidence. There's obviously lots of been criticism over the number of crosses, particularly that Southampton game where he gave away the ball so many times. And so for him to get on the score sheet and for him to get an assist later in the game, I'm really, really happy for him. And hopefully now we can see him flourish and continue to do the things that he was doing for the past couple of seasons. But no sooner had we gone 2-0 up, Højbjerg decided to score a goal similar to, if you guys remember, well, not similar, but from a similar position to the one Wanyama scored at Anfield back a couple of seasons ago, where he just kind of got his laces through it. This time round, Højbjerg kind of just cut across it slightly with the ball going into the kind of right-hand side of the goal. Alisson absolutely no chance, and it was a fabulous goal. And going into half-time, I think we were feeling very positive, but I think that goal was a real kind of, I thought would be a tipping point in the game. Like, we'd either react and kind of rally behind the fact that we were ahead and try and, push forward, keep the lead, possibly try and score another, or we would kind of just cave and just really struggle in the second half. And I think, fortunately for us, we kind of dug in. I think a big thing was the fact that Harry Kane came off, and Son just didn't look like the same player in the second half. Without Harry Kane, he just pretty much was absent, which I thought helped us hugely. And I thought if Harry Kane was on, that second half could have been very, very different. But after that, we very much controlled the ball. The game came, I'd say, a little bit boring, but that's probably exactly what we needed. We were holding most of the ball. Tottenham weren't looking too threatening. And we were able to kind of control the ball, and as I said, the third goal came, the third goal possibly did come before from a nice little bit of interchange between Bobby Firmino, Thiago, and getting the ball through to Mane, who played it through to Salah. But it came back for handball on Bobby Firmino, and it was handball on Bobby Firmino, but the thing to bear in mind is that 1, it hit Eric Dyer's hand first, 2, he was fouling Firmino, so it's kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, so it was a bit kind of strange to see. But hey, you know what, once you saw the replays, you know, it was always going to be called handball. But fortunately for us, we did go out and get that 3rd goal, and kind of get that 2-goal gap back again, with a great ball from Trent. You know, that's the Trent, and those are the crosses from Trent that we've got so used to seeing, and that's so deadly against any team. Rodon just, I don't know what he was trying to do. It was in a really tough position for him, and Sadio Mane was just there, and he was so close to the goalkeeper and to the goal. You know, Lloris couldn't really do anything about it. And after that, yeah, we kind of just saw the game through. Tottenham didn't really pose any threats, particularly without Harry Kane, and we managed to get the 3 points, which was, you know, I'm super ecstatic about. We just needed this, particularly with the Champions League coming back in a couple of weeks. We needed to get out of this kind of bad run of form we were on and start picking up a bit of momentum going into the Champions League. I think my man of the match, I think for me, would have to be Bobby Firmino. I think he was really clever in noticing that we had an overload in midfield, and by him coming in, it would make that even worse and give us a lot more control over the game. He obviously got his goal as well. He has a pretty good record against Tottenham over the last couple of games, and just all round, he was really, really good. And again, another player who's had a lot of criticism, but again, showed today how much of a contributor he can be to the team, and how great of a player he can be, both in kind of setting up the play as well as scoring goals. And then finally, the shout out to Klopp, I think, is just experience. I think today there was the highest average age, and it looks like experience is the way he's gone, with James Milner coming into the team, and you see Wijnaldum and Thiago, so very, very experienced midfield, and I think that's the way he'll go for the West Ham game as well. But that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.